Hello everyone, my name is Dorian. Welcome to another track guide with the F3. We are at Nurburgring GP and the track conditions are awesome, so this is going to be a lot of fun. A wide track, plenty of overtaking opportunities. It's going to be a good week. Now, it does take a long time to create these track guides and the setups. And if you do enjoy it, if you do want to see more of it specifically, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. That really tells me it's worth doing. There's a link to my Discord in the description below. You can find the setup there. It was made by Alan Day, who is a friend of mine. He's a professional racing driver. He kind of tweaked this setup and made it work really nicely, and he allowed me to share it with you guys. So show your appreciation by subscribing to the channel and all those good things. I'm just going to show you guys the lap real quick, and then we're going to go over it corner by corner. That's it. See you on the track. Okay, so we're coming up to turn number 1. Let's look for a braking point. I'm gonna stick all the way to the left and brake right between the 100 and the 50. Call it the 75 or 80-ish. Right around here when I'm gonna start braking. Braking very hard to around 70%. Staying on it for a long time because you are carrying a lot of speed and you're going downhill. Downshifting very fast. It's a very quick downshift sequence. Into second and turning in the car, into first just now, and I'm gonna start trail braking and turn in the car very hard, around 90 degrees angle, maybe a little bit more than that. Yeah, quite a bit more than that it seems. And this pillar is sort of my apex. Gonna jump this part, car's gonna dip down, and as the front right touches the tarmac here, I'm gonna go back to the accelerator immediately. I'm not gonna wait. First gear, 60-70% as I straighten out the wheel back to 100. And keep turning right, because I want to maximize my approach for this corner. Very tricky. Look at how early I'm lifting here. The car has a tendency to oversteer on entry, understeer in the mid corner, and oversteer on the exit. So you want to maintain that the whole way through with the throttle. A little bit of braking on the mid corner. So 50% on entry. Then the car kind of rotate nicely into it. Trying to carry as much speed as I can on entry. At this point, I'm going to lift, kind of to preemptively prevent the understeer. A little bit of trail braking, hugging the curb nicely as I mount the curb and I'm safe on it. I'm going to go back to the throttle, again 50%, not being aggressive here at all, very gentle with all of my inputs. And as I straighten out the wheel, I'm going to go back to 100%. Third gear the whole way through. Going all the way to the outside, you can stay a little bit more, be a little bit more aggressive on the exit, but it's hard to check the rotation, so I was a little bit gentle here. Now, there's no braking point here, so it's kind of tricky, but there's a steep part of the downhill section, and as it straightens out, that's where I'm going to start braking. So look at that, right around here. I'm going to start braking around 50%, immediately, the rear right is really hot right now because of the corner we've just been in. So you want to be very gentle on entry here. As you can see, my wheel's almost straight. I'm not trying to put too much weight on it. I'm trying to slow the car down first. On the trail brake into second gear. And doing most of the rotation now. So I'm sort of braking diagonally into it, making micro corrections, not letting the car run wide because there's no grip on the outside. And you want to take a nice short route. It's a very slow and long corner. Now I want to hug this curb the whole way through, and what helps me do that is put it in first, right around here. So I just put it in first just to keep the rotation going. I don't have to use a lot of brakes when I put it in first. The car will just rotate nicely all on its own. And I can go back to the throttle very aggressively because you're almost immediately hitting the limiter, so the car doesn't snap. Now, a simpler way would be to just try to carry it in second. You're probably not going to lose much time, if any. This is just my method to do it. Hugging the inside the whole way through. Already back 50-60% throttle. Going back to 100. Upshifting into second. As you can see, I'm still kind of turning left, trying to steal as much entry speed as I can. In second gear, letting the car rotate and immediately lifting. The car has a tendency to snap oversteer here on entry and on exit. So it's kind of tricky. I'm going to short shift almost. Just shifted into third before the apex here, before this curb. I'm going to mount it nicely with a big lift from 60%. This is the point where the car likes to snap, and as I land from it, going back to 100, I know I'm safe. A little bit of over rotation. You can see I'm correcting it, trying to catch the slide, try to keep the car nice and true. All the way to the outside, and we're through. Now, looking for a lifting point, really. This is something very strange here. I don't normally do this, but it seems to be the fastest way. First, I lift, and I paused for, I don't know, a couple tenths or a tenth. And then I start trail braking. So, got the brown curb right here. That's your lifting point. Lifting very aggressively, putting all the weight in the front, but I'm not scrubbing too much speed. My entry speed is 210 here. And after I start turning in slightly, we're still in fifth gear, by the way. A little bit of trail braking. Staying on it. Hugging the curb the whole way through. I want to kind of compromise my exit to maximize my approach for the next corner. So I'm trying to hug it the whole way through. And a very late downshift into fourth. Still carrying a lot of speed. A little bit of trail braking. Again, I'm staying on the inside as long as I can. And because of that, I was able to go back very early to the throttle. Slapping it on 100%. And as I straighten out the wheel, I'm going to lift. Just a tiny bit. Make sure I still got enough rotation to turn all the way to the left, or as much as I can really, without losing too much speed. And I'm going to start braking as I straighten out the wheel. So the wheel is straight. I don't know exactly where the braking point here. Let's call it this point. And braking, going all the way to the left, into a third here. And now I'm going to downshift into second. Trail braking all the way into it. A little bit of neutrality here, and look at how soon I'm going back to the throttle. That's where you want to be. You want to complete most of the rotation. Because you got a wide entry, you can complete most of the rotation early on, so you can go back to the throttle very early. You got a nice long straight here, and you want that exit speed. Now, we're going to hit the curb here, and that's pretty much as you want to hit it, right here. A little bit more than that, the car's going to get beached, and it's not going to upset it, but you will lose time on the straight here. So try not to overuse it. All the way to the left, sticking to the left, taking a nice short route. And the braking point here is right as the white line here kind of breaks and goes straight. That's where I start braking. So very, very late. From sixth gear all the way down to second in a sequence that I'll explain right now. So downshifting fifth, fourth, third. Look at how much braking in third already. I'm not trying to grab it as a double apex. This is one very, very late apex here. So already in third, and I'm going to stay in third for a while because I'm trying to carry as much speed as I can. Tons of camber, tons of rubber on this corner. So I'm taking it all the way from the middle, letting the corner kind of scrub the speed away, and only now into second gear. As I put it in second, tons of rotation. I'm turning the wheel quite a lot, trying to grab this early apex, and because I can see I'm kind of approaching it already, and the car's turning in nicely, I'm going to go back into the throttle very aggressively. I would say 70% at the beginning, but back to 100 as soon as I kind of get close to it, carrying the whole way through. Like the previous curb on the exit on the previous corner, you don't want to mount it too much. The car will get beat, you lose time on the straight, but this much is fine. Schumacher's S, nothing special, nice clean line here, all flat out, nothing special to see here at all. Now here, I like to steal a little bit from the right. You don't want to do it too much because there's a 1x. I'm going to brake right after the 100, right around here. So let's say right at the 100, or maybe, I don't know, 95. This is where I start braking. Slam the brakes for a very short period of time. Into 4th gear, so from 6th into 4th. The car will rotate very nicely here, so you don't want to slow the car down too much. You can carry a ton of speed here. Clipping this curb nicely. This is my apex, and as I clip it, I'm already back on throttle. I'm getting plenty of rotation here, 60-70%. As I land back to 100, I don't have to straighten out the wheel. There's plenty of camber, and immediately going all the way to the left here to maximize my approach for this corner. Lift it just a tiny bit and then lifting all together. Tiny bit of trail braking, just putting a little bit of pressure and pretty much neutral the whole way through until I reach the apex. Now, you don't have to do what I just did, which is mounting this curb. It does give you a little bit of rotation though, but it's kind of tricky to aim for it every time. But if the car complies, try to do that. It can give you a little bit of rotation under power. If not, you don't have to. You can take a later apex and you're probably not going to lose any time. So as I hit this curb, all the way back to 100%, I was rotating nicely. Still steering. I'm trying to avoid beaching the car on the curb on the exit here. Pretty much as I want to cut it. 4th gear for those 2 corners. And we're through. Taking a nice short route here. And a very crucial braking point. This chicane is nasty. If you brake a little bit too late, the car has a tendency to snap oversteer. So as you brake, you think you're slowing down, you slow down enough, you're going to turn in the car and it'll just snap on you. And the curbs are really nasty too. You definitely want to try to avoid clipping them. My braking point, right around here, I don't have a visual marker really. So past the 100 obviously, but I don't know, let's call this the 80, the 75. Yeah, definitely 70 or 75. Right around here. Braking very hard. In a straight line. Trying to stay on the outside for as long as possible. Don't be tempted to go into the corner like I just did. Don't do that. Stay in a straight line. And as I put it in 2nd, I'm going to start turning in. My turn-in point is quite crucial. You want to turn in pretty late here. So right around here is when I start doing most of my turn-in. Lifting off the brake. Don't clip the high part of the curb. And I'm already back on throttle. 40-50%. As I straighten out the wheel back to 100. And I made an oopsie here. I clipped this curb too much. I went on the high part. And that's the reason I had to lift so much. You need to lift just a tiny bit because the car has a tendency to oversteer here on the exit. But if you don't clip this curb, not as much. So don't clip the high part of the curb. I lost about 1/10.5 here. You can see it in my delta. And lost just a little bit of time here as well, probably because I wasn't carrying as much speed. Now the braking point in 3rd gear, by the way, you take this corner. Braking point right around here. Short period of time on 50%, already releasing it from 4th into 3rd. Trail braking into it. Car is turning in nicely, so I'm letting it go neutral. And very early on throttle. I'm getting rotation under power here. I can afford to be very early on throttle, around 80%. Feathering it. Letting the car tell me what it wants to do. I can see I'm kind of safe. I'm going to floor it. You don't want the 1x on the exit here. Ruins a perfectly good lap. So I'm trying to avoid it. This is about as much as you want to cut it. And that will give us a 148.805. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, let me know in the comments what you think, and hop over to my Discord as well. Have a great day. See you in the next video. Bye bye.